I've spent almost my entire career in financial services, but I spent some time in healthcare recently. And the way we are seeing the advisor client relationship work in AI actually reminds me a little bit about how we saw tech work in a doctor's office. Very similar. In other words, the idea was always to augment the person's capabilities, never to replace them. Uh, the idea for example, a financial advisor, as in the case of a doctor, is actually to listen carefully to understand what the challenges, issues, opportunities really are, develop more meaningful relationships, provide as much as eye contact as possible, while technology takes care of everything that enables that conversation and moves it forward. So I think that's exactly how we are approaching and how the world actually is approaching AI in the advisor client relationship within financial services. Um, the idea is to see it primarily as an augmentation, not as a replacement. The idea is to provide deep insights, personalized advice, to automate, manual tasks and free up the advisor so that they can focus on building stronger relationships. And by the way, our the research that we did in the wealth management area that Wipro had done, what we found out that sort of supports this. 73% of firms are already leveraging AI extensively, and 65% firms believe the same way that we believe, that in the next 12 to 24 months, client relationship management is going to be completely transformed by using AI. And uh, and almost 50%, I think 44% of the firms that we surveyed felt that they would have to double their AI budgets, going from 16% to 37% over the next 3 to 5 years to support these initiatives. We see a big impact. And by the way, that impact is already here and now. The way to think about AI in general within financial services is firstly as an analytical tool which helps you analyze. In financial services, the thing is about data. There's so much data, and AI can help you make sense of vast amounts of data. So analytics. The second is personalization, and the third is operational efficiency. I think all three levels are very important. If you think about the progression of Gen AI tools, it started with very simple uh, cases. For example, in a contact center, an agent was able to do the next best action based on AI inputs. So simple cases like that is where Gen AI got started. But as clients are spending money and building out modern data platforms, and then they're integrating, more and more Gen AI capabilities, they're seeing, the high productivity that I spoke of. They're seeing that start to flow through cyber defense capabilities, better defense capabilities. They're able to offer much more personalized experiences that help them stand out from others, from competition. So these are now coming, but they require the data platform to be built first. And once that happens, all of these benefits start flowing in. As the agentic capabilities of AI improve, and we are seeing that improve, we think a lot of more complex business cases will be unlocked in the future. Um, 65% of industry leaders that we surveyed believe that AI will transform client relationship management in the next 1 to 2 years. So this is on us, this is happening, and I think there are certain trends in technology that will only accelerate that. Uh, in wealth management specifically, the clients are kind of using AI and Gen AI to reimagine the advisor desktop, if you will. How does an advisor, in the course of their conversation with the client, get much more intelligent insights? How can it enhance their productivity by doing away with a lot of manual tasks? And basically, how does it improve the experience for financial advisors themselves? I mean, that's the other thing. So these are some of the areas where we are seeing a lot of investments and frankly a lot of progress. Hyper personalization is one of those areas that I talked about earlier, which is being revolutionized by AI. Uh, what does that mean? I mean, what we mean by that is, you know, instead of creating products for a large population of similar people, which is how traditionally products were built, we can actually now build a tailored product just for one unique individual. Again, traditionally, this kind of tailored service was, targeted at ultra high net worth individuals or sometimes high net worth individuals. So at a certain level of threshold of wealth, what AI allows you to do is to take some of those capabilities, put that in technology, and apply that same level of customization to the mass affluent, to you and me, to everybody. And that's really how we see hyper personalization work. So, what AI does is it'll analyze huge quantities of data, financial history, behavioral patterns, personal preferences, my social updates, and then in real time help tailor something uh, that's very unique to me. Um, and again, going back to the survey I mentioned earlier, Dominic, I think 63% of firms that we surveyed, they agree that AI enhances their ability to customize client experiences, and that's showing in the spend that we are seeing. Just like I brought up the doctor example, I think if you think about a patient doctor relationship, uh, uh, the fundamental bedrock to that relationship is trust, right? And trust is primarily built through human contact, and that's true for advisors as well. So uh, I think the high touch nature of wealth management is not going to change. So the client advisor relationship is still going to be built on personal trust, on personal interaction, on getting to know each other. So clearly that, Dominic, is not going to change. What is changing and changing very rapidly is AI being positioned as a tool that enhances the value that the advisors provide. Okay. And how do you measure the value? The measurement of the value is leading to tangible benefits for clients. Uh, so the goal is to create a sort of a symbiotic relationship between AI and the human advisor, almost like a bionic, where the AI is an extension of the advisor as opposed to being an external thing. And that's how we see AI really add value to what's fundamentally a human relationship between an advisor and a client. Everything that we've talked about so far, hyper personalization at scale, analytics, managing large data sets, integrating into the FA's preferred uh, channels. So all that is part of Wipro's Wealth AI solution. It's basically a comprehensive suite of AI-powered uh, tools that are designed to do all of the things that we mentioned. That whole circle is actually accelerated by the Wealth AI, and we built that tool to seamlessly fit into whatever are the current set of tools that the advisors use. So we are seeing a confluence of trends that is starting to reshape the industry itself. So first is the increased client expectations. So the clients have now been spoiled by the Amazons and the Netflixes of the world. They demand personalized, highly responsive, and frankly digital first experiences. This is what the clients, the new wealthy or the young rich, as they come to wealth management, this is something basic that they expect. Um, but there's more. I mean, they expect all this at a fairly strong cost point. So in other words, that means you have to operationalize efficiencies. The firms are under pressure to streamline processes, reduce cost, and improved decision making to get there. So it's a high expectation at a fairly strong cost point. So that's a tricky thing that only technology can enable. And the third thing that we're seeing is increased regulatory scrutiny. So the regulatory landscape around AI is constantly evolving, and it means firms have to be very well tuned to what's going on, as well as have strong compliance and transparency capabilities, governance capabilities to adhere to those. And all of these lead to the final and probably the biggest thing you're seeing, which is a talent gap. There's a significant talent gap in the industry. And if you ask me, that's probably one of the big reasons why we are not seeing more scaled cases out yet, the talent gap itself. Our report really highlights the need for a robust AI governance framework, because the landscape is evolving so quickly. And in fact, for 55% of the firms that we spoke to, identified regulatory compliance as their key challenge in AI adoption. So you're spot on. And I think the what can firms do about it? First of all, we call it AI governance, but basically it means you first have to set up very clear AI policies and standards, and then you have to set up a very robust oversight mechanism to govern it. So if you look at these two things, I think that's what most firms are looking at. And frankly, in the end, a pro innovation regulatory landscape is crucial to foster AI development, and I think the industry is all sort of getting together and asking for a more innovation oriented regulatory landscape. And I think in the near future we will get to that point. We are getting to a more innovation oriented regulatory landscape. If in a nutshell, this is exactly how Wipro looked at AI too. If you look at Wipro as a large firm, we have 230,000 employees across 65 countries, very complex. And the way we looked at it is, we first looked at internal business processes, around efficiencies, around friction free, around making things friction free. Then we looked at the talent gap, and sort of we took efforts to train all of our 230,000 employees on key AI principles. And frankly, finally, after all of that, we've come up with 400 use cases. We have 19 AI innovation centers, and at this point, close to 500, about 450 patents that we've done. So I think other firms have to follow a very similar pattern where they have to over-index on the talent gap, on the knowledge gap, and sort of build it, bottom up. So look at first internal operational efficiency use cases, then look at client use cases, again, simple, and then medium, and then more complex as they go forward. The time to look at this and move on this is now. If there are clients out there who are still waiting, I think there's a significant disadvantage to that. So and firms like us have existing use cases that we've deployed in the market that we can help them with right now. So I think the last thing, Dominic, that I want to leave you with is that the time is now. It's not like we're not drawing out something in the future. Everything I said is happening now and happening at scale now.